Last month, a Maruti Swift owner walked into a workshop in Bengaluru. His car was just behaving strangely. Rough gear changes, slight vibration, warning light he had been ignoring for 3 weeks. The bill he walked out with, 4,73,000. And here is the part that should make every car owner stop and pay attention. Every single thing that failed on that car was caused by a habit. A completely normal, everyday, completely avoidable habit that millions of drivers have right now. Not one big mistake, 7 small ones. Each one invisible, each one accumulating silently, each one with a specific rupee cost attached to it. I am Tridip, and today I am going to tell you exactly what those 7 habits are, exactly what they are doing to your car right now, and exactly how to stop each one before it becomes a bill you are not expecting. Stay till the end because habit number 7 is one that almost nobody talks about, and it might be the most expensive one on this entire list. Let's get into it. Habit number 1. Right hand on the gear lever while cruising. If you drive a manual car, which most of us do, you almost certainly do this. It feels natural. It feels like you are being ready. Your father did it. His father did it. It feels like good driving. It is destroying your gearbox. Here is the engineering reason. Your gear lever does not just move when you shift. It is mechanically connected through a rod and a linkage to something called the selector fork inside your gearbox. The selector fork is a precision machined component, shaped exactly like a fork, that sits between rotating gear collars inside the gearbox housing. When you rest your hand on the lever even slightly, the weight transmits through the lever to the selector fork. That fork is pushed microscopically sideways, a fraction of millimeter, against the spinning gear collar beside it. Metal against spinning metal, every kilometer, at every speed, on every road. The synchronizer rings, the components that make your gear changes smooth, wears out years before they should. Your gearbox starts jumping out of gear under acceleration. You take it to the mechanic and he tells you the synchronizers and selector fork need replacing. Full gearbox repair costs between 25,000 and 40,000 for a standard hatchback. The fix is completely free. Hands on the steering wheel when you are not actively shifting. That is it. Habit number 2. Driving on low fuel warning. Every driver has done this. The warning light comes and we tell ourselves, bus thora or petrol station is 5 minutes away, and then 5 minutes become 15 minutes, becomes tomorrow morning. Your fuel pump sits inside your petrol tank. This is by design. The surrounding fuel keeps it cool and lubricated while it runs. Full tank, pump submerged, perfectly cooled, runs exactly as engineered. Warning light on, 2 liters remaining. The pump is now running half exposed above the fuel line. The motor generating heat with no fuel to absorb it. The pump runs hot. Small everyday poor maintenance choices that drivers think are completely harmless quietly wear parts faster and turns into much bigger bills later. And it gets worse. At low fuel levels, the pump is drowning from every bottom of the tank, where 5 years of sediment, water, contamination and debris collect. The debris passes through the pump filter, clogs it, reduces fuel flow, and creates additional load on an already hot motor. Fuel pump replacement, 35,000 to 50,000. Quarter tank minimum, every day, every journey. The warning light is not you have time. Habit number 3. Speed breakers at the wrong speed. India has the highest density of speed breakers of any country on earth. The roads in India are such that one needs to be very patient. And most Indian drivers have developed a calibrated sense of which breakers they can take at 30 kmph and which need 10 kmph. But the calibration is almost always optimistic. Here is what happens inside your suspension when you hit the speed breaker too fast. Your shock absorber is a hydraulic cylinder, oil inside a seal tube, a piston pushing through it, the resistance of oil controlling how fast your wheel moves up and down. Designed for normal load inputs, designed for gradual compression. A speed breaker taken too fast causes what engineers call hydraulic lock in the shock absorber. The piston hits the internal bump, stops before the oil has to flow around it. Full impact force transfers directly to the strut mounts, the rubber and metal components connecting your suspension to the car's body. Strut mounts crack, wheel alignment shifts, rim contacts the curb on the sharp turns because the suspension geometry has changed. Total prevention cost versus restoration cost. The difference is enormous. Shock absorber pair, 18,000 to 35,000. Strut mounts, 8,000 to 15,000. Wheel alignment and balancing, 3,000. Rim or alloy replacement if bent, 12,000 to 25,000. Worst case total, 85,000. For driving 15 km too fast over a speed breaker, you have crossed the 100 times. Before habit 4, if this video is already making you think differently about your car, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it tells YouTube to show this to more Indian car owners who need to hear it, and subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. Because habit 4 involves the one product every mechanic recommend, and what most of them never tell you about choosing the wrong one. Habit number 4. Using the wrong engine oil grade. This is one that makes mechanic uncomfortable because the wrong recommendation is often what workshops upsell. Your engine manual specifies a viscosity grade, something like 5W30 or 10W40. These numbers are not suggestions. They are engineered specifications. The first number is the cold start viscosity, how easily the oil flows when your engine is cold. The second is the operating viscosity, how thick the oil remains at running temperature. Using a thicker oil than specified, say 20W50, when your manual says 5W30, means the oil doesn't flow quickly enough to critical engine components in the first 10 seconds. After a cold start, those 10 seconds of inadequate lubricant cause more engine wear than the next 1000 kilometers of normal driving combined. In 2026, owning a car has become more technologically advanced, but also more expensive in terms of labor and consumables. With the rise in GST and the cost of high-grade synthetic oils, a basic service can often surprise owners with high bill. Using a thinner oil than specified causes oil film breakdown at operating temperature, metal-to-metal contact at high engine speeds, engine sluts from repeating wrong oil servicing, 40,000 to 80,000 to flush and repair, premature engine wear requiring reconditioning, 80,000 to 1.2. Secure user's manual. Use exactly the grade specified. If your mechanic recommends something different, ask him to show you where in the manual it is recommended. If he cannot, insist on the specified grade. Habit number 5. Riding the clutch in heavy traffic. Clutch riding, keeping your foot partially depressed on the clutch while moving slowly in traffic, is perhaps the most universal driving habit of all. In Bengaluru, Mumbai, Delhi traffic, it feels like the only way to manage slow-moving queues without constantly shifting. The engineering consequence is specific and expensive. Your clutch pressure plate and friction discs are designed to be either fully engaged or fully disengaged. Fully engaged, spinning together, no slipping, no heat generated, no wear. Fully disengaged, completely separated and also no wear. Partially engaged, spinning against each other at slightly different speeds. Continuous friction, continuous heat, continuous wear. The clutch friction disc loses material with every meter of clutch riding. The pressure plate surface gauges from accumulated heat. The release bearing wears from constant partial load. A clutch that should last 80,000 kilometers in normal use fails at 35,000 or 40,000 kilometers. Clutch kit replacement 18,000 to 40,000 depending on the vehicle. Replace it twice instead of once over ownership life. That is 36,000 to 80,000 extra for a habit that only changes how you hold your left foot in traffic. The technique, either fully engaged or fully disengaged. Use first gear and move forward in short bursts. Neutral and handbrake when stationary for more than 10 seconds. Your left knee will thank you and your clutch will last as long as it was designed to. Habit number 6. Ignoring dashboard warning lights. This one need to be said directly because driving culture around warning light is uniquely dangerous. We treat the check engine light like a decoration, the oil pressure warning like a suggestion, the temperature gauge like a background noise. Here is what those lights actually represent from an engineering standpoint. Your car's ECU, engine control unit, monitors hundreds of sensors readings per second. Every warning light represents the ECU detecting a reading outside its design parameters, not a suggestion. A measured sensor confirmed deviation from a normal operation. Ignoring dashboard warning light is one of the most dangerous examples of careless use of a car. Remember, one small reminder for today will prevent a major repair job tomorrow. The oil pressure warning light. If you continue driving when it illuminates, you have minutes before catastrophic engine damage. The oil is not reaching critical components. Metal is contacting metal at high speeds. Continued driving means complete engine failure. Engine replacement after ignoring oil pressure warning 1,20,000 to 2,50,000. The temperature warning. Continued driving when overheating causes head gasket failure. The cylinder head warps. Coolant enters combustion chambers. Head gasket replacement 45,000 to 90,000. Machine cylinder head 25,000 additional. The check engine light alone can indicate 200 different fault codes. Some minor, some critical. The only way to know which is a diagnostic scan. 300 to 800 at any authorized workshop. The cost of not knowing potentially lakhs. Every warning light is your car telling you something specific in the only language it has. Stop the car, call a mechanic. 300 diagnostic versus 1.5 lakhs repair. If Habit 6 just made you think of someone you know who drives with warning lights on, share this video with them right now, not later, right now. It could genuinely save them lakhs. The share button is right below this video. Habit number 7, the one almost nobody talks about, using your car only for short trips, under 5 kilometers each way. This affects millions of urban families who use their car only for school runs, market trips, and local errands. It feels like light use. It feels like the car is being preserved. The engineering reality is the opposite. Your car battery is charged by the alternator, which generates electricity from the engine while it runs. A fully depleted battery needs approximately 20 to 30 minutes of driving to recharge completely. A 5-kilometer urban trip at moderate speed takes approximately 12 to 15 minutes. Every short trip partially depletes the battery. Every short trip partially recharges it, but partially, never fully. Over weeks and months of short trips only, your battery cycles repeatedly between 60% and 80% charge, never reaching 100%, never being given the sustained charge it needs to maintain cell health. Battery replacement costs 5,500 to 7,500 for a standard hatchback, but a battery failing regularly due to short trip cycling needs replacing every 2 years instead of 4, doubling your battery cost over ownership life. But the engine itself suffers even more. Short trips means the engine never reaches full operating temperature. Combustion byproducts, water vapor, unburned fuel, acids that would normally be expelled through the exhaust when the engine is hot, accumulated in the oil when the engine stays cold. This contaminates the oil rapidly. Sludge build in the sump. Valve and components receive contaminated lubrication. Engine life reduces significantly. The fix: one longer drive of 30 to 40 km minimum once every 2 weeks. Highway speed preferred. This fully recharges the battery, burns off combustion byproducts, and gives the engine the sustained operating temperature it needs to clean itself. Let me add this up for you. Gear lever habit 35,000. Low fuel habit 45,000. Speed breaker habit 85,000. Wrong oil gate 1.2 lakhs. Clutch riding 55,000. Ignoring warning lights 1.5 lakhs. Short trips battery and engine 40,000. Total 5.3 lakhs. Half a lakh more than the Bangalore Swift owner's bill. None of these failures required an accident. None required a manufacturing defect. Every single one was a habit. Normal, everyday, completely avoidable, that accumulated silently over years until it became a bill. The most expensive car repairs are almost never caused by any bad luck. They are caused by information gaps, things every car owner should know, but nobody ever explains. This is exactly why this channel exists. I am Tridip. My job is to explain what actually happening under the hood, in plain language, in real engineering, with a real rupee cost, so that you can make decisions about your car that your dealership, your mechanic, and your manufacturer's browser never give you enough information to make. If this video saved you money today, hit the like button. It is the single best thing you can do to help this channel reach more car owners who need this information. Subscribe for next week, because we are going deep on one question every Indian car buyer asks before signing: petrol versus diesel versus CNG in 2026. And the answer involves numbers that will genuinely surprise you. Drop in the comments, which one of these 7 habits are you guilty of? Be honest. I personally reply to every comments this week. See you next week.